Hi, it's Wallace again, and welcome back to my BookTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking about books that I'm excited about. Some of them are brand new releases, some of them are part of the backlist, which means basically that they're just at least over a year old. If you follow me on Instagram, some of these you will have seen already. I do tend to post books that I'm excited about there or books that I'm reading, and if you'd like to follow me, there's a little Instagram icon either in this corner or this corner. I can't remember now. One of the corners, there's an Instagram icon, and if you click it, it'll take you to my account and you can find me there. The first book that I'm going to talk about today is Mrs. Poe by Lynn Cullen. This is an historical fiction novel set in New York in the 1800s, during the time of Poe, obviously, and it's about an alleged affair that he had with poet Frances Osgood. And this one is supposed to be a little Poe-ish, if that makes sense, in the fact that Mrs. Poe, Edgar's wife, knows about the affair, and some of the things that she does are supposed to be a little bit calculating and manipulative and a little spooky in a Poe type of way. So let's read it and see what she does. It's supposed to be really good. It's supposed to also tell a lot about New York during this time period, and the literary history there is supposed to be pretty well researched. So I think it'll be really interesting. It's actually a Target book club pick, so you can find it at your local Target or you can find it at your local bookstore as well. The next book I'm going to talk about is The Good Girl by Mary Kubica. And this one is, the only reason this is a soft cover is because this is an advanced reader's copy, but if you get it at the bookstore, you can find it in hardcover. It actually came out just this week, so it's brand new. And it's being touted as the next Gone Girl. What isn't being touted as the next Gone Girl? Anything that has a twist in the plot at all is being touted as the next Gone Girl. If Gone Girl got a little too twisted for you, then this one might be up your alley. There are still some pretty major twists and turns throughout. You're going to think you guess the end. You're not going to guess the end. You're not going to be sure that you guess the end. But it's going to pull on your heartstrings a lot more than Gone Girl did. That is for sure. I finished this one really quickly, and I'm not going to lie. There were tears involved. Two other writers, Swapna Krishna and Rachel Manuel, also read it, also needed tissues. So be ready, be warned, and get it. It's a good one. The next one is The Book of Life by Deborah Harkness. This is the final book in this trilogy. This is a fantastic, fantastic trilogy if you like anything supernatural. It's incredibly well written. It's well researched. The history, because it takes a lot of history is involved in this book. It's not historical fiction necessarily. It's a little hard to describe if you haven't read the first two books. But this is such a well-written book. It's a very, very smart supernatural book while also being incredibly entertaining. So if you see this one around, just know that this is not a standalone book. It is part of a trilogy. It's actually the end of a trilogy, so make sure you get the first two books first. The first book is A Discovery of Witches, the second, Shadow of Night. Ask your booksellers for those before you end up reading this and finding out the conclusion before you even know the beginning. And if you are a big fan of this already, then just know that this is out already and waiting for you at your favorite bookstore. The Night Film by Marisha Pessl. This one is definitely over a year old. The reason it's hard copy is because I got it from my library. This one I have tried to read like 3 times. I actually used my iPad to rent it from the library using Overdrive, and if you don't know about that, you can ask me about it in the comments. I can explain that to you. But it kept getting taken away before I could finish it. It's a pretty thick one, and it's got a lot of stuff going on in it, and it can get kind of dark. So I would take breaks from reading it, and you can't do that when you're reading it on your iPad and it disappears after a week. But it's finally at my library on the list that allows you to have it for like 3 weeks or so. So this time I'm going to finish it. I'm going to get through it. But it's about a horror director who has this, like, he makes really dark horror films. Or any horror films, not dark. I actually don't know. But he makes really dark horror films. He has a cult following, and he's kind of backed out of the spotlight. Nobody really knows where he is. He's kind of a recluse. Nobody ever sees him anymore. They don't know what he's up to. And this is about his daughter getting murdered or committing suicide. We don't know which, and that is basically what this book is about, trying to figure out what really happened to her. Was he involved? Was it something about being his daughter that made this happen? and it's definitely twisty, turny, and kind of crazy. So I'm really looking forward to finishing this one finally. The last one that I'm going to talk about is Tigerlily by Jodi Lynn Anderson. This one is in the young adult literature section. I'm not usually one to read children's or young adult literature. I don't read a ton of it. I mean, I read some, but not a ton, only because I don't typically connect with it. But when I find something that I like, I usually really, really like it. And this one I saw on somebody else's Instagram account because she put up the dedication page, which I loved so much that I actually have gone and put up the dedication page on my Instagram account as well. But it made me go look up the book, and it's a retelling of Peter Pan. So even if you're not really into children's literature or young adult literature, you might be into this one because it's based off of something that maybe you loved as a kid. Tigerlily, if you don't remember, is the one who loved Peter Pan before Wendy came. And Wendy was very stereotypical female character. She was fragile and sweet and motherly and afraid of things. And, you know, Peter had to come along and challenge her, and she took care of him. And it was this very, very stereotypical relationship between the two of them. Well, Tigerlily is, you know, messy hair, dirty feet, likes to hunt, is not your typical female character. And so she watches Peter Pan fall in love with Wendy, who is basically her complete opposite. And this book is told about her and through her side of the story. So I'm really excited to read it. I picked it up today and I just opened it to see a little bit about if I was going to like it, and I already read a chunk of it. So I know I'm going to love it, and maybe you will too. So check this out if you haven't already. So tell me down below, what are you reading right now, and what are you excited about? Any new releases, any backlisters that I should check out? Let me know, and I will see you next time. Bye.